Hey, what's going on today?
Hey Rich, today I have a little surprise for you. I know someone who always dream about being a host of a show and doing it with a Miami Dolphins legend.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I will make that happen today.
So, Hugo, tell me a little bit about yourself. Man, I appreciate you coming on the show and actually being a host. And, I don't have to carry the load, with Dan normally on the show. I have to do everything. But now I got somebody take some of the pressure off. So happy you here to participate with me. And just tell me a little bit about you, and then we'll jump right into it.
Yeah, well, first let me tell you it's a pleasure. It's not every day that you have the opportunity to talk to someone like you. So thank you for that. And thank you to Dan as well for the opportunity as well. So a little bit about me. I've been watching football for the past 12 years. So didn't have the opportunity to watch you play. Actually, I was a bit too young for that as well. But for me, discovering football at Dolphins was kind of a funny story actually because I went to Miami for 3 weeks in 2013 and was doing an exchange there, a student exchange, and then I was kind of waiting for my new roommate to meet me at our apartments, and then I was getting bored, so I opened the TV, and there was like this Dolphins preseason game on, and to be honest, it was like one of the most boring moments of my life. But I just kept watching it, and then yeah, I think it was the third preseason game, so it was not even the first one where you see the starters play a little bit. And then so we
Yeah.
went back to France a few months later. I don't know, it was I, 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 I wanted to see what was a real game, So I opened the TV, and I was kind of picking teams. And since I went to Miami, I was like, okay, let's watch the Dolphins again. And that's how I got into it, basically.
That's interesting, and like you said, the first time you saw it wasn't real interesting, and that is true because typically during the preseason, they only show a limited amount of what they're possibly going to do against. It's real conservative. They don't show a lot, so I'm just happy that you did give it a second chance, and hopefully your time in Miami for 3 weeks were good. You say you were studying, I guess studying abroad for 3 weeks or whatever. So
Yeah.
what what was your major, or what? Tell me a little bit. What were you studying, or what you get your degree in, or whatever?
It was just about English. It was just about working through the
Oh,
summer
cool.
to improve my English, and that's basically it. So I was working during the morning at school, and then I had my afternoon off. So I had the opportunity to visit the place and visit Florida a little bit. So it was very nice. It was short.
Now that's hey Hugo. I might need to. Well, it'll probably take me a lot longer than 3 weeks because Dan's supposed to be helping me with my French, but all I know is we. And every time I say that, he gets pissed off. But I do it because it agitates him a little bit, and so every now and then I hit him with we, and he's like, "That is not French. That is not French." I'm like, we. So I know it agitates him. We have fun and this and that, and he know I love him to death. But yeah, I would definitely need a course like that. But I just I can't speak it, but when I hear it, it sounds so smooth and all that. I say I need to add that to my repertoire. But Dan won't teach me. He been holding back on me. He don't want me to be cool and smooth like him. So I'm glad I met you, Hugo. I know you're gonna get me hooked up, so I ain't worried about Dan no more.
Of course I will. But to be honest, French is not that easy to learn. So the second word I use the most, beside oui oui, is baguette as well. This one is quite popular as well. That's one more.
Baguette. Okay. Yeah, all right. All right.
Dan is gonna be.
I got 2 words. I got 2 words. Yeah. See, you're giving me good ammunition. I knew he was gonna pick the right guy to put on here with me. So I guess to kind of keep the show moving along, I guess you got some questions or whatever, and we can jump into those, and
Yeah,
we'll just
definitely.
keep it moving. But yeah, I got we in baguettes now, so yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's definitely true.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah, actually, before going over like what is going on during this season, I was more curious about you yourself and your career. The first question I have was what is your most memorable moment as a player in your career?
I think my most memorable moment, I would say, is probably getting drafted by the Dolphins. I went to Texas A&M, and um, I can remember coming out, and I just prayed. I prayed to God. I did this for real. I did not want to really go to a cold weather team, and I said, Lord, if you can send me somewhere warm, and you know, I made it. I was ninth pick in the first round, and then I got drafted by Miami Dolphins and Don Shula, which was, I've been watching football since I was 5, 6 years old as a kid. Grew up watching it, loving the game. And Don Shula was one of those coaches that, even back then was one of the premier. I was a Cowboys fan growing up because I grew up in Dallas. And Tom Landry was the coach, but Don Shula, Tom Landry, Chuck Noll. It was a few coaches that were on that elite level and this and that, and he was one of them. And then so when I got the opportunity to go there, I was so happy and overjoyed because I knew I was going to get a chance to play for a legend, and then get to play with guys like Marino was already there, Mark Duper, Mark Clayton, and so had watched them play on Monday Night Football, but never got a chance to meet him and this and that. But it was just great. So when Coach Shula called me and said, "Hey, you ready to be a Dolphin?" I was like, "Yes, sir." And I thought that was the greatest thing until I got there, and I was like, "This dude ain't so nice." I mean, he was tough, but it was a reason we won. But I had to figure out that. I was like, man, this guy here, no wonder they're as good as they are because he was a demanding coach, but he truly loved his players. It just took a minute for me to figure that out. So I was just walking on eggshells. I didn't want to mess up. So that was it. But yeah, I think that was my most memorable moment when I got drafted by the Dolphins.
Yeah, thank God you weren't drafted by the Packers, for example, or the Vikings. You would have been cold out
Yeah.
there.
Oh, brother, and you know what? I would have dealt with it, but because it ain't nothing you can do once you go there. But yeah, you're right. I mean, Green Bay, Chicago, Buffalo, even Cleveland. It's some places that, man, it's just, man. As soon as the season would have been over, I'd have been headed south, trying to get me a heat or something. It was just, it's brutal up there. But those are great franchises and traditions. They have a lot of tradition as well. If I had my choice, I wanted the warm weather, and I said I can go play there for a few hours and then fly on back down to Miami. So that was it. But yeah, we just got to get the Dolphins playing a little bit better now. We really struggling right now, but
Yeah, we are.
we'll just kind of glaze. We'll just kind of glaze over that. But yeah, they're people not happy right now, but hopefully we can get this thing turned around. I'll say that.
I would hope so. I would hope so as well. Talking about that, like, what's your take on our loss to the Chargers last Sunday?
You know, it's not only that one. It's that was a tough loss, and then the week before I was at the Charlotte game. I went to Charlotte, and I think what's so tough about those two games is you take the lead with a little bit of time left, and then the team comes back and takes you out, and that's happened 2 weeks in a row, and mentally that takes a toll on you, not only as a fan but as a player. So, um, you do it, and it's like you go from one high, and then you go to another low. You think you got it, and then it slips away from you. And I think if we win those two games, rather than lose them. I think it just does so much for team morale. It kind of gets your confidence, like, okay, now we're rolling, we get back to what we're doing. So, um, you know, it's gonna be tough, but I think that definitely took some wind out the sail to actually, back to back weeks you have games that you think you win, and then the team comes back, make the plays, either kick a field goal or something to lose you. So that was tough. So I'm just waiting to see how we're gonna respond this next game. But that was definitely tough because I mean you could hear in the stadium. I was actually at the game, and the fans were cheering and roaring and this and that, and they made a couple of plays and got down there. It was like, oh, it was almost like, here we go
Yeah,
again. The same old thing that happened last, and it happened again. So I think it's just trying to fight that mindset that you'll be able to close the game versus just play good and then lose it at the end. I think that's the thing they got to get Melanie to try to get over that.
yeah, definitely. Especially since I think there was some improvement last week in comparison to the week before, especially on the running game. Well, it wasn't
Hmm.
perfect, but we had
Yeah.
less yards. Uh, with the pressure, it was a bit better. Where we saw some lost opportunities, especially with the Phillips sacks at the end, which kind of crushed us in the end. But overall, yeah, we were kind of close to win this one. That's what I think the most disappointing thing in last week game. But going over, you know, the Browns coming up, they are also 1-5. If you had like one thing that you would emphasize with the team during the week to try and win this one, what would it be?
Hmm. I think my message to the team is kind of what I said previously. I think you gotta get that out of your mindset that yeah, we lost two close games, but we got to put those losses behind us. There's nothing we can do. We got to get ready for the Cleveland Browns. Really good on defense. I mean, they got a really good defense. So offensively, we need to minimize mistakes and make sure that we don't do things to beat ourselves. Catch the football, secure the football, don't turn the ball over, um, and try to get things going offensively, and that'll take pressure off our defense. So I think that would be the challenge for us. And defensively, I would say, hey, we should be able to get after. I know Joe Flacco just took over. He was a starter, and uh, he's there. But no, did they trade Flacco? No, they got the young guy. They traded Flacco, didn't he? I think
Yeah,
they
I think
traded
we
Flacco.
did
So
it to the Bengals actually. Yeah, that's true.
to the Bengals, that's right. That's right. So Flacco. So now you got a rookie quarterback. Uh, is it Dylan Gabriel or something like? So anyway, I think if I'm defensively, I'm going to try to throw some looks at him to try to confuse him, to frustrate him early, to get them to make some mistakes to where we can get some turnovers and stuff to play over and just say, hey, what's happened before? We're gonna forget. It's nothing we can do. We're 1-5. We know that they're 1-5, but we can't focus on that. We focus on the Cleveland Browns and just getting this win, and we'll take it from there. And I think that's the way you got to approach it because if you keep looking back and saying, man, if we would have won these games, we beat 3-3 or 2-4, but you didn't. So now you got to keep your head, put blinders on like you do a horse where you can't look right or left. You just look straight ahead and say, hey, this is the next test. Let's win this one. And then we win this one. We'll take the next one after that. I think that's the way you've got to approach it.
Yeah, that's true, especially considering all the noise we have around the Dolphins lately, especially about the last interview that we had with Tua, for example. But I think every players, I mean, publicly reacted very well to that. I saw the next interviews in the next following days, and everyone was talking about managing all those things internally and not getting confused by all those different messages delivered by the media as well. So I think it was nice and refreshing to see that. I hope this is the same thing behind the curtains as well. But actually, well, I had also a question about you because yeah, you were talking about defense as well. But I learned
Mhm.
that you started out as a defensive end at Texas A&M. I didn't know that, and
I did.
you were moved to offensive tackle during that time. and that decision actually changed your entire life and career. And I wanted to kind of know how did you feel about the switch at the time, and when did you kind of realize that it was the right move for you?
Oh, we gonna unpack this one. Yeah, that was, man. I was in college, and I was a backup defensive lineman, and we really had a lot of talent. And so just one day, my position coach, comes to me and said, "Hey, I just want you to know we're moving you to offense." And when I first heard it, I was pretty upset about it, but because I think I'm a competitive person. I don't talk a lot, but it's almost like you didn't succeed at what you were trying to do. And so I was like, man, I really didn't get the opportunity. And so, I mean, I got the opportunity, but I didn't have, I guess, enough time I felt I could play the position and this and that. And so I was pissed off. I went to my room, didn't talk to anybody. And I came back, and, once things kind of settled down, I just tried to focus on the positives. And the thing was, I wanted to play. So after then, I said, okay, you know what? It doesn't matter whether I play offense or defense. I just want to play. And if I play, I just want to be a good teammate and help us try to win football games. So I just worked hard. I busted my tail. And it actually was the best move for me. But at the time, I couldn't see it. And I think I possibly would have had an opportunity to play if I would have stayed on the defense, but my career wouldn't have been not near as close as it was as being an offensive lineman. So, you reflect back on that. And the funny thing is, my head coach was Jackie Sherrill at the time. And now we still got a good relationship, and we laugh about it. And now with college football, he said, yeah, if you were playing now, you would have transferred, and, with NIL money and stuff like that. And we laugh about it. But I think the best thing that did for me at that time was it probably helped increase my maturity level quicker, because I had to deal with adversity. I had to deal with something that I wasn't expecting, but I still had to make the best out of a bad situation. And so when I did that, I think that really helped me mentally, not so much physically, but mentally. And I attribute a lot of that to my success, because um, it's all in how you approach the situation. It ain't what you wanted, but sometimes it's not about what you want. It's how do you take on that next challenge that you can only control what you control, and just do the best. And that's the way I approached it, and it turned out extremely well for me. So
Yes.
I'm fortunate now. But if you'd asked me about a day or two after that happened, oh man, we could have had a real conversation then.
Yeah, that's a crazy story. That's too. I didn't know about that, and when I was like looking for a few things, and I discovered that, I was like, okay, that's a very cool story. To be
Well, you know where to look. I'm gonna tell you this. You know where to look. I don't know how you found that, but you definitely know where to look at, brother. I tell you that.
honest.
I'm glad I ain't commit no crimes. Or if I did, that might be your next question. I don't think I know nothing about that, but yeah,
Don't,
Hugo, you know where to go get it at. I'm gonna tell you that, brother.
don't worry, I didn't dig up too hard. And I didn't want to disappoint Dan. He asked me to host, so I did my homework a little bit. And
Yeah, and you gave me baguette, so I got wee wee and baguette. So yeah, I got two words now. Yeah, yeah, I can't wait for him to pop back on here. I got something for him now.
that's good. I think the last question I would have for you would be for
Uh-huh.
you, what did change the most between in the game between your time and today? Well, what is the main you would say main difference?
I think definitely the difference is, I think it's more attention put on player safety. And what I mean by that, some of the um, way we played the game, and some of the hits that the defense could do, and and we could do, you are not allowed to do it anymore. Back then we went through 5 6 weeks of 2 a days, and now they don't do 2 a day practices anymore. So they do 1 a days and this that. And um, on the other end, I think with social media, there's a lot more media coverage and stuff like that these days compared to when I played, which I'm glad I played in the era I did, because I think sometimes it's too much coverage, with all the different sports stations, podcasts, you name it. People got different channels and stuff like that. Everybody has an opinion. And but those are the main things I think they're really trying to protect, because with concussions, and they see the effect that it has, not then but later on in life, with some of the players that have played the game and put their bodies on the line, that this affects. So now they're trying to implement or put things in place to protect the players, which you got to respect that. It's a little different, but for the most part they're trying to do what's best for the players. So I think that's the biggest difference I notice, as far as playing back when I played versus playing now. Hmm.
Yeah, definitely. It's true that every year they're trying to focus on that, on player safety, and you see that they're trying to rewrite the rules. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's less good for us as viewers, but player safety is always the most important thing that we have in mind, despite all the show that we are all logging in to see. But yeah, that's very important. So that's true. But that's basically it for me. To be honest, I'm
Okay.
quite excited about next week's game to see what we will be able to do against the Browns. Hopefully, we will be able to win this one at least. And
It will be real nice. And man, I commend you. You did an excellent job. Dan might have a little trouble getting his job back now. I mean, you
come on.
you showed him up. Yeah. He found his replacement and didn't even know it, Hugo. So, but no, seriously, man, I appreciate you coming on, and I've really been blessed to meet a lot of people internationally that really love the American football, because football is soccer everywhere else except, and we call it soccer, but really American football. And even when I was in Miami, I met this guy Paul from the UK, and just a huge fan, and the love, just being able to actually meet people that either you talk to via social media, Twitter or whatever, and then actually meet them, and you get to actually meet them and see that they truly are genuinely happy to meet you. And it's not, to me, that's what it's about. And I met several people this weekend, and even in Charlotte, and that's what brings me joy, is the people, the fans, and we all share a common interest, the NFL, and the love for our team, and it's that. So hopefully we can just get it turned around. And but man, thank you so much for coming on and all that. And hopefully we can get Dan the man to pop back in there. He just pops in and pops out. But man, I tell you, you did an awesome job on the show. So yeah.
Thank you. It was my pleasure.
Hey, wee,
Hey,
my man, wee.
oh,
What's up, wee?
baguette, you have a new
I
word
got,
now.
I got
Use
another
it,
word
please.
for you. That's
Use
it.
it.
Baguette. Baguette.
Okay. So it's not like you will say that every time when you are in France and you see someone, you don't say baguette because they will say, what, this guy is crazy or what? But anyway, we will find a way to make you use a few more words. Thank you very much, Hugo. Merci beaucoup, mon ami. And
Avec
you know,
grand plaisir.
there were.
Merci. No,
Merci.
merci.
You have
See,
bonjour,
that's
merci,
3 words. Merci.
bonjour,
That's
merci,
3.
et bonjour.
I'm study adding, Dan. I'm study adding. 3.
And if you stay with just one we, you have yes. Man, it's not that bad. And just for remember that last week it was the FCW 25, and we have the great pleasure to have Mark Angelo with us. He's a fan of the year. I guess it was 2021 or 2023. I forgot. Sorry, but anyways, we have a great talk with him. So just after this, you guys will watch Mark Angelo preparing for the FCW. Thank you very much, Hugo. Thank you very much, Richmond. And let's see if the Eagles.
Thank you, Hugo. I appreciate you, brother.
I say again, the Eagles.
The Eagles.
Man, the Dolphins will win next week. Sorry. I mean, it's.
Bad joke, Dan. Bad joke. Bad joke.
He, he do that every time. That's why. Hey, that's why I hit him with that wee wee. I don't care. I'm hitting with that wee wee every time. Bad joke. I'm gonna come with my wee wee. That's it.
Thank you, guys. See you
All right,
next
thank
week.
you.
Mark, how you doing? And congratulations again on Fan of the Year. We've known each other for several years now, but we'll get into that. But thanks for coming on the show, and always a pleasure to see you. And looking forward to seeing you in a few days.
Man, I can't believe how blessed we are to get to hang out with one of our favorite Dolphin players of all time, Richmond. You are so good to all of us, and it just warms my heart to think about all the times we spent together and before Fan of the Year. And I'm looking forward to seeing you this weekend.
Oh yeah, ain't no question. So I know you're a busy man, and I appreciate. I always get surprised. I never know who the special guest is, but since we're on the show, I know, but if you don't mind, kind of give the fans or the viewers an opportunity to learn a little bit about you, how you became a Dolphin fan, and kind of fill in the gap. So you are the star of the show today. So
Wow.
you take it from there.
How am I to start a show when Richmond Webb's on the show with me? But I'll take that. Richmond, in 2008, I created a Facebook page called NorCal Dolphin Club and just called myself NorCal Dolphin. So we're from Northern California, about 50 miles east of San Francisco, about 40 miles west of Sacramento. So we basically have the whole Bay Area and Sacramento Valley at our disposal, and that's where our club is hubbed out of there. So Suisun City. Man, I became a Dolphins fan technically in 1982-ish when the Dolphins played the Redskins in the Super Bowl. But I locked it in hardcore when the Dolphins played the 49ers right in my backyard. And man, I'll never forget, my dad came home with a 49er hat on. And I had already been rooting for the Dolphins a little bit, so this kind of showed my loyalty a little bit. But my dad came home wearing a Niner hat. And I says, man, I would have swore we would have been rooting for the Dolphins again this year in the Super Bowl. And obviously, history, and the Dolphins broke my heart. But I stuck with them from that day forward. And NorCal Dolphin was created, I would say, back in 1984 during that Super Bowl run.
Oh yeah. And I love hearing the stories because, matter of fact, this past weekend, I was at the Carolina game in Charlotte and met a lot of people from the Charlotte fan club and the Positive Purpose with, Danny Johnson. He was there and they had an event and raised a ton of money for charity. So it was good to hang out there. And my youngest daughter moved to Charlotte, so she got a chance to show us around. It was, got to spend time with her. So we had a great time up until the last 2 minutes of the Dolphin game, which we ain't got to keep talking about. But yeah, so we had a great time. But hats off to not only like you, NorCal. Matter of fact, I ran into somebody from the Southern California fan club in Charlotte, and they was like, "Man, we got to get you out to California." I said, "Yeah, I've been talking to NorCal, and now that my daughter's graduated, it's more feasible." But I think he said it was in May of next year. Yeah, for the picnic.
Yeah.
Okay, so I got it right. And I said, "Yeah, I'll be in touch with NorCal." And I told him, I said, "If y'all coming down to Miami for a fan club weekend, I'll be there as well." So then just always meet a lot of great people. And while we're on here, kind of tell everybody about fan club weekend down in Miami and how that works and this and that.
Fan club weekend is my favorite weekend of the football season, and it's always a different weekend. But fan club weekend started back in 2014, and the Miami Dolphins their fan club representative, they put together this thing called Fan Club Weekend, and they basically sent a message out to all the fan club leaders and presidents around the country at that time, and said that they were doing a promotion called Fan Club Weekend. It was the Dolphins playing the Chargers back then in 2014, and the Dolphins ran that program for 2 seasons, and then they cut it off. And then in 2016, Scott Howell is the Atlanta Dolphin Club president, and we were the number 1 and number 2 clubs as far as club members attending Fan Club Weekend those 2 years in a row. So we actually reached out to the Dolphins because we didn't hear anything for the 2016 season, and uh, our girl there in charge at the time said that the Dolphins were canceling the program, and Scott and I were bummed about that. But she had said on the phone, "Hey, if you guys continue this on your own, we'll do a few things for your group when you guys get here." So 2016, Scott Howell and I created Worldwide Dolphin Clubs, and that was our first fan club weekend, us hosting the party and all that stuff. So yeah, we put together this cool weekend for everyone, and I think we played the Texans that year. And like Danny, we did a bunch of charity work and just a meet and greet party the night before the game, and we all tailgated together on Sunday morning, all sat in the same section together uh, and watched the game, and just had an amazing time. And that was now 9 years ago, so we're on our 9th fan club weekend, and again this year we're playing the Chargers. So it's a full circle kind of thing. Fan club weekend started with the Chargers, and we're back with the Chargers again. Hopefully, we'll have the same
How
result.
I know that's right. How ironic. And yeah, Scott's a great guy as well. Got a chance to hang out with you and Scott. The first one I attended, and I was really kind of blown away because I didn't know what really to expect. And you invited me down. I said, "Yeah, I'll come check it out." And um, man, it was people from Mexico, California. I mean, all over New York. It was it was a little bit overwhelming, but everybody was friendly. And then what I really could appreciate about it is even though people were from different parts of the United States or different countries or whatever, it was all like just one big group, and everybody was getting along, and they sung the Miami Dolphins song and all that. And Solo was there, he performed,
You're awesome.
and man, just a lot of people that I had been interacting with on social media, and then getting the opportunity to meet them, and then say, okay, these people really are cool. Because sometimes you see people on online, and then you think they're okay, and then they're all right, but for the most part, I say everybody I've met, they've been just like they are, and that's the true thing. And then matter of fact, I got a friend request to join the Charlotte group, so I'm in I'm in the Charlotte fan club. So but it's just, and with me and Dan doing this show we start doing, we say, hey man, we just want to have fun. We don't want to be all serious, this and that. And I've talked to uh, Germany, France, and so it's just not in the United States, but just internationally, it's just growing, and then you hear the stories of how people became Dolphin fans. It's different, but it's kind of the same. And then when some of them become recently, because we hadn't been doing that well recently, to hang with us, that's true. So I always appreciate those type of stories and this and that. So like you said, we got the Chargers. They're playing good football. What they got? One loss, I think.
I think they've lost 2 in a row now.
They lost two in a row. Okay. They did lose that game. Okay,
Yeah.
I lost track this past Sunday. I don't think I watched any football after the game, the 1 o'clock game in Charlotte. I had enough football after that, but they're coming to town, playing our Dolphins. Do you have a prediction or what? Because Dan loves for us to do this, but I'm
No,
like,
man. You know what, Richmond? I'm kind of torn here because I never bet against my Dolphins. but and the Chargers are looking like, they're well coached. They got some good team. I mean, I think that they got the edge over us, but it's fan club weekend though, man. And
Yep. We got to ride with them. I tell people that it breaks your heart at times, and then especially when you lose a game like in Carolina, we were there, and then we were up like 17 points, and then
yeah,
it's just you almost question yourself what happened, this and that, and I've been a part of some comebacks, during my careers, so I kind of understand the player perspective, but I definitely understand the fan perspective. So it's just, man, you just want your team to win, and you want to root, keep rooting and rooting, and think we could pull it out. And I still thought we had a chance to pull it out, but I tell people all the time, don't take my predictions to Vegas. I bet with my heart, not with my head. And I'm going with the Dolphins again. I just hope I be in a better mood after the game if it doesn't go the way that I predict. But I'm picking the Dolphins to beat the Chargers. We'll be 2-4. I'll take that. That's better than 1-5, and I believe we can get it done. And like you said, NorCal, with it being fan club weekend, I hope not only the Magic in Miami, but from all the fan club participants coming in, showing them love, this and that. I think we'll have enough to get it done. So I'm picking the Dolphins over the Chargers this weekend.
oh look, so I'm gonna make my prediction because I predict with my heart, and
Okay.
but when I bet, I kind of bet with my wallet, and that man that takes over for the heart, man. And so look, I'm gonna predict that the Dolphins squeak one out.
Okay.
The very first fan club weekend, we beat the Chargers 37-0. I
Ooh.
think that they're gonna keep it closer than that this time.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
I mean, I think Tua's gonna have a game. I think Tua versus Herbert, that's a real thing. I'm gonna say the Dolphins 31 and the Chargers 28 is my prediction.
But you know what? That in a way I kind of thought about when you said that, because every time Tua and Herbert been matched up, it's kind of been a shootout like that,
Yeah.
and it kind of comes down to where it's 3 points. So I like your thought process there, and I definitely like the way you picked the score. And we're gonna go with that one. I like it, and let me see if I can find that Frenchman. He's around here somewhere hiding, and get him back in here. Well, the thing is, like I said, again, NorCal, congratulations on being fan of the year. It's well deserving. Definitely looking forward to seeing you this weekend. And like I said, I think the thing that we're starting to, I guess, more people to get people to understand is these guys or these ladies that run these fan clubs. It's not about being the biggest fans. They do a tremendous job of raising money for different charities. So it's about being a Dolphin fan, but it's about giving back to people that's less fortunate or whatever. And that's the thing that I love. And then I love how all of them come together regardless of who it is, and they support each other. Any kind of way one can help the other one. They work as one. They don't work as, oh, we're in California, so we don't help. They all work together, and they get along very, very well. That's been my experience. And so when I found out about the charity, portion of it, where they really giving back to help people, and the things they do, raffle off to raise money and support the different charities that the Dolphins, support, this and that. It's just a win-win. So thank you for that, and thank you for. I know you're a busy man. I know you're gonna make it seem like you're not, but thank you for taking time to come on the show today. And brother, you got the last word.
I'm a busy man coming from Richmond Webb. Man, this is, like I said, it's mind-blowing, dude. Just mind-blowing. Man, Richmond, thank you for having me. It's such a pleasure to always speak with you, and I can't wait to see you this weekend and all the fans from around the world. Man, NorCal Dolphin Club is bringing 39 fans this year, and it's the most of fan club weekend. Finally, we're on top. We took it away from the Dolphin Nation Mexico. Those guys have been running the show for a few years, so I'm looking forward to an extremely fun weekend, and I'm glad that you're gonna be part of it, Richmond.
I'll see you in a few days, brother. It's been too long. I need to lay eyes on you.
Well, safe travels, my friend, and we will definitely see you soon.
Sounds good. Thanks for coming on again.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you so much.